Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today's event is titled WSIB Symposium, Health and Safety Excellence Plan, what it is and how to join a group. And I think we were very specific in how we named this event because we want to get right to the facts and we want to get right to what we're here to do. So we didn't waste a lot of time coming up with any great marketing ideas. Also, I think RESCON is probably better known for their substance versus their marketing. But you know, we are always open to feedback. But I guess first, before we do anything, when we do health and safety events, kind of following IHSA tradition, we do like to take a moment of silence and just remember the people who aren't here or who may become injured, because that happens much too frequently. So if everyone can just take a moment, please, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. So we're here today to talk about health and safety. I think something that has become an issue in construction and in health and safety is still more than COVID. And I always need that reminder because it seems all I work on is COVID, but health and safety touches essentially everything on the site. We need to do all of our hazard assessments. We need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to be prioritizing all health and safety, not just COVID health and safety. We have built and enjoy quite a remarkable partnership with the WSIB. And so we're happy to have WSIB here today. We're also really excited to have Sue and Michelle here. And so essentially today is WSIB, and I'm not trying to steal any thunder here. They launched a program called the Health and Safety Excellence Plan. And what it is a program to help builders and large subtrades get recognition for the safety efforts they do. It's also there to help improve safety efforts. And it's there to, show how seriously we take health and safety. And so today's opening remarks are not going to be overly long, but thank you everyone for coming. A copy of this presentation will be made available. And as always, we like to do a donation whenever we do a webinar or an event. And today's group is Threads of Life. And so I'm sure Amina will talk about that a little bit more in the closing. But if not, I think everybody knows about that charity. And so we will be making a donation to them. And then without further ado, please let me introduce Amina Dib, who is going to introduce our first speaker. So if you could take the mic, Amina.
Thanks, Andrew, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone had a good family day. So our first speaker is Diana Rhea, or Ray, and she's the stakeholder engagement lead at the WSIB. And in that role, Diana partners with industry associations like RESCON and other stakeholders to advance the strategic goals of the WSIB in making Ontario healthier and safer. Prior to this role, Diana managed the team that designed the new Health and Safety Excellence Program in collaboration with the WSIB's network of approved providers. Formerly, Diana worked for the Ministry of Labor's Prevention Office in developing and implementing the Ontario Health and Safety, Occupational Health and Safety strategy for the province. So Diana is going to provide more info on the excellence plan, as well as updates from the past year and some new programs and services available to employers. So I'll turn it over to Diana.
Thank you, Amina, and thank you, Andrew, for that warm welcome. Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you today. I hope you all had a wonderful long weekend. Thank you to those of you who've joined us today. I know that is a bit of a sacrifice after a long weekend, but for those of you listening to this after the fact, thank you as well for taking the time out of your day. So I'm going to spend about the next 40 minutes with you talking about how the WSIB can help you address those immediate COVID health and safety issues, but also ensure a longer-term sustainable approach to health and safety in your business. This is going to help you save time, save money, avoid disruptions to your business, but you can also benefit from WSIB rebates on your premiums, as well as digital health and safety badges and other benefits for investing in health and safety. Next slide. So let's look at our objectives for today. It's just coming up on the next slide in a moment here. Okay, so specifically what we're going to cover is we're going to learn and discuss the benefits of investing in health and safety. We're going to talk a bit about the Health and Safety Excellence Program. Now I'm going to share a 30,000 foot view of the program, My colleagues from Hamilton Halton Construction, Sue and Michelle, are here to give you much more of a deep dive of how they can specifically service you through this program. And then we're going to talk as well a little bit about specifically how we can help you with COVID-19. As we dive into this program, I just want to start off by saying, I know Andrew touched on this a little bit, but this program is really developed in collaboration with our key stakeholders and partners, including many within the construction sector. So we very much appreciate the partnership of RESCON, specifically Andrew, to ensure this program truly meets your needs. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's start off with a question. I want you to tell me, why is health and safety important to your business? And there's 4 options that are going to come up on the screen here. It's a strategic priority, it's the law, employees have identified this as a priority, so your employees have mentioned they want this, or maybe something else. And you can specify that something else in the chat. So I'll give you a minute to complete that, and then we'll see how we land on that one. Now, Andrew, you're on mute. I don't know if the results are going to pop up, or if that's just something we'll have to look at afterwards. I'm seeing a black box.
Yeah, so I was on mute and I was even talking to myself, which is great.
Okay.
So we're just going to give maybe 10 more seconds,
okay,
because results are climbing. We're hitting about 60% of people voting. So.
Great. So hopefully the rest of you can throw a response in there. I know the other might take a moment as you think about what is that most important aspect to your business.
So I ended polling. Now, can you see the results, or do you want me to read them out?
I can't see them, so if you can read, that would be wonderful.
Okay, so strategic. So you were able to click multiple boxes. 63% of you said it's a strategic priority, which is great. 25% said it's the law, so I assume those people didn't know that you could click more than one answer, so I apologize for not saying that. The third one was employees have identified it as a priority, and then others, please say in the chat. I haven't seen anything in the chat, but we can pull that. I'll jump in if anything does come up. But I mean, personally, I think it's great to see that employers are making it a priority.
That's absolutely wonderful. And that's perfect, because we will touch on how the program can help you not only continue to do that, but really operationalize that within your business. So thank you for providing that to me. That gives us a starting point to work from today. If we can go to the next slide. Okay, so now I'm still seeing a bit of a black box. I don't know if everyone else is too, but I think that's from the poll question.
Is that better now?
It's gone. Yes. Perfect. Okay. I've got to keep it interesting today. Keep everyone on their toes. Okay. So why invest? Why should you invest in health and safety? Now, many of you know the answer to this, but let me give you a few other considerations as well. So over, the past decade, studies have shown correlations between proactively investing in health and safety, less workplace injuries, and higher profit margins. And so that's basically your return on investment. In 2014, there was a study from the European Agency for Safety and Health at Work that found that small and medium-sized organizations may experience a positive return on investment in safety investments within 5 years. And another European study showed that for every dollar invested in health and safety, there could be a twofold return, meaning for every dollar you put in, you get $2 out. An article on the return on investment of safety published in Safety and Health magazine cites that investing in safety is also investing in operational and behavioral reliability, meaning that companies that demonstrate strong organizational support for safety experience improvement not only in safety, but also in reduced absenteeism, reduced employee turnover, and other indicators of employee well-being. So that speaks to that strategic priority. So there's definitely some evidence here to suggest that investing in health and safety is going to give you a positive return on investment. You're also going to strengthen your business reputation. So one thing we've seen through our Small Business Health and Safety Leadership Awards, and those small businesses that won, whether gold, silver, or bronze through that award program, is that by focusing on health and safety and investing in it, they actually became leaders in their industry, leaders in their community. And this really helped them earn the confidence of their employees, of their customers, of their buyers, their suppliers, and the general public. And that helps them grow their business. And lastly, you're going to keep your employees healthy, happy, and safe. Sorry, that was a bit of a tongue twister. Let's try that again. Happy, healthy, and safe. At the end of the day, you want your employees to return home feeling happy, healthy, and safe, ready to go back to work the next day. And you want your customers, buyers, suppliers, et cetera, to feel safe engaging with your workplace. Next slide. So on the inverse of this, why should we invest and what will not investing result in? So for one, you could see fines and business disruption. So you could get a Ministry of Labor training and skills development order, could be a stop work order, could shut you down for a couple of days. Some of those fines can be fairly hefty for not complying with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Also, it's particularly for a smaller or medium-sized business, if you have an injury, that can be really catastrophic and that can really disrupt your business. Not only think about the permanent impact to the worker involved and their family. You're also going to see poor workplace health and safety culture. And this is absolutely something to pay attention to. We hear all the time that having a poor workplace health and safety culture can result in things like absenteeism and employee turnover. Your employees want to know you're taking active steps to invest in health and safety. Your customers want to know that. They don't want to be at work worried about their personal health and safety. There's a lot of evidence out there to suggest that when employees are completely focused on their personal health and safety and don't feel confident in that, they're not able to deliver their best. They could be distracted. It could actually cause injuries because they're so distracted by the fact that they don't feel safe. So it's very important to create that safe and healthy culture for your employees to drive productivity, drive engagement, drive morale, and keep those valuable people that you have. And lastly, a poor reputation can result from that negative publicity that we've seen a number of employers recently receive, especially in COVID. Those employers that haven't taken the steps needed to really control the spread of the virus have made the headlines. That can be very detrimental to a corporate image. We've seen that all over social media and paid media. We also have our Safety Check website now, which is growing every month in users. And this is an open data portal that WSIB has provided to the public. We launched it about 2 years ago. And this open data portal gives every individual in Ontario the power to look up the injury experience of any registered business. So your employees, again, your customers, job seekers could be looking at your business to see what are your health and safety trends, and is this a business that I want to work with? Next slide, please. Okay, so another point I wanted to raise was we've got our Compass tool as well. So our Compass tool provides you even another reason to invest in health and safety. Now, this is the secure access version of that Safety Check website I mentioned. So Safety Check is open to the public. It's an open data tool that gives the public access to the health and safety trends of any business. This tool is something that you can access through your WSIB online services, and it's going to give you even more information. It's going to give you even more detail on the trends that you've had with respect to different types of injuries and illnesses in your workplace, and specifically show you where you can make some improvements. You can also see things like your claims costs, your premiums paid, and your predictability on Compass. So I highly recommend you use this tool. It's great data that's available to you for decision making. Now, we'll talk more about predictability later in the presentation and why that's important. But also wanted to let you know there's a new feature that we've recently launched on Compass. It actually came out about a month ago, called a premium rate calculator. If you have greater than 30% predictability, you have access to this calculator. And what it can do is show you how, if you increase or decrease the volume of your injury claims or the duration of them, exactly how that's going to impact your premium rate. So you can see that if you make, say, a 10% improvement, you can actually see a reduction in premiums and exactly what that dollar value will look like. So it's a great tool to do some planning and thinking about, okay, I'm going to address these health and safety issues in my business, and this is the return I can expect to receive in a lower premium rate. Next slide, please. Okay, so the other point I wanted to raise is that, investing makes sense because we really need to work together. If we look at the average lost time injury rate, which is 0.98, and what a lost time injury rate is basically the number of injuries per 100 workers. And so with the average rate being 0.98, and even that we want to improve, because I think we all agree, we want zero injuries and illnesses in Ontario. We want Ontario to be the healthiest and safest jurisdiction in the world to work. But if we look at that across, different industries, we can see that a number of industries are above the average rate. So construction, for instance, is at 1.12, and the top injury event in construction is struck by objects or equipment. So as we work on health and safety, as we invest in health and safety, we have the opportunity to not only bring down our individual premium rate, but also a class rate too. So for instance, we could work together on, say, G5, and which is, I believe, specialty trades construction, and actually bring down that class rate. So that's a double benefit on bringing down premium rates. Next slide, please. Okay, now looking specifically at the residential construction sector, the rate is even higher. So I mentioned that average rate is 0.92, that construction rate is 1.12, it's 1.62 for residential construction. So this is something that we want to keep our eye on. This is something we want to actively work together on. It's 44% higher than the average construction lost time injury rate. And the occupation with the highest claim count is trade helpers and laborers. So we specifically want to do some intervention there. The top injury event is struck by objects or equipment. Now, the challenge and opportunity that we face with residential construction is that it's a growing industry, which is exciting, but that's also creating a growing opportunity for injury and illness. So we do want to make sure that we're matching the growth in the industry with the growth in our health and safety efforts. So specifically, total residential employment is projected to rise by 8,900 workers, so 4%, through to 2026, so in the next 5 years. And a recent report shows that 1.8 million homes need to be built over the next 24 years to keep up with projected population growth. But there is a shortage of an average of 12,000 units a year, or 288,000 over the period. So there's definitely going to be some growth here. I think with COVID too, there's a bit of a change in migration patterns and where people are living and the demand for single dwelling homes. So we're absolutely going to want to stay on top of that growth trend with health and safety. Next slide, please. Okay, so why invest? And the last reason I want to share with you is that we have a health and safety excellence program to help you. So you don't have to do this alone. We can actually give you supports and incentives for your health and safety journey. We offer you supports for building that positive workplace culture and keeping your employees healthy, happy, and safe. You can also earn rebates, you can lower your premium rates, you can lower your claims costs, and really save some money. You can strengthen your brand. We're going to give you digital badges for your participation in the program. And as mentioned, you get a longer term return on investment. There's all sorts of tangible and intangible returns that you're going to see for investing in health and safety over time. Next slide. Okay, second poll. So now that you've heard all of that, that's what I call the business case, why we should invest in health and safety. I want you to tell me, what is your top health and safety challenge that you're currently facing? Because yes, we want to invest in health and safety, but we have some specific challenges we need to address in doing that. So tell me what that is. It would either be meeting minimum legislative requirements, so the minimum requirements of OSHA, cost, time, lack of tools, lack of knowledge, trying to get your employees involved, and that can be a challenge in itself, leadership support, or maybe it's something else that you want to share with us in the chat. So the poll is going to pop up again. If you could tell us which one is most relevant for you today, we can try and focus on that a bit in the presentation and make sure that we address that in the Q&A as well. I think Andrew's getting the poll up for us.
Yeah. There we go. It's launched now. Let me move this to, there we go. The answers are slowly coming in. We're at 10% of respondents. Closer to 40% now. We'll give everybody about 15 more seconds. Okay. And now if I share results, can you see that now, Diana?
I can see it, yes. It looks like top number is employee involvement. That's actually very interesting. So we will be touching on that later in this presentation, specifically around the culture component. So that's good to know. It looks like number 2 would be time at 25%. Number 3 is cost at 13%, tied with lack of knowledge. And number 4 is lack of tools. Now, I don't see anything for leadership support, which is good. I'm glad you've got the strong support of your leadership. I don't see anything else under other or meeting legislative requirements. So it sounds like we've got a group that wants to go beyond legislative requirements and truly want to address those injuries and illnesses, implement those best practices, and you want to get your employees involved, meaning you want this health and safety to be real on the shop floor. Or the front line, I should say, maybe. So we're absolutely going to discuss that today. So we'll go to the next slide. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the Health and Safety Excellence Program. Before I say that, I just want to touch on one more thing. I think, coming out of COVID, and I mean, I guess that's optimistic when I say coming out because we're still in it. It's like the veil's been lifted. Like, the heightened awareness of health and safety that's resulted from this pandemic, that's not going away. Never will there be a time again where every employee and customer, everyone will be not thinking about, is this a healthy and safe business? And I think that's important to know going forward as we look to, bid on projects, or as we look to, determine how to spend our money. We have to really think about that reality and how we can be prepared for it. And my hope is that through this program, we can really support you in that. So let me tell you a bit more about the program. So the program is 36 health and safety topics over 3 levels: foundation, intermediate, advanced. The topics are spread across the levels because it's a maturity model. So we're trying to take businesses from a sense of awareness of health and safety, so understanding they want to work on health and safety, all the way to excellence. These topics have been built as building blocks towards the Ministry of Labour Training and Skills Development Accreditation Program, which is called Supporting Ontario Safe Employers. So as you work on this program and you implement these topics, you are preparing your business, should you choose to go that route, for accreditation. So you can then be in a good position when completing all these topics to get your third-party audit through one of the accredited standards, say ISO 45001, for instance, and go for accreditation. Now, many of you might be thinking that's way off. I'm probably at foundations, and that's okay, because this program is really intended to meet you where you're at. You need to start in the program where it makes sense for your business based on your health and safety maturity. And for many of you, that might be foundations. You might still be implementing some of those foundational pieces. Foundations is really about making sure you have a solid health and safety program in place. When you move into the intermediate level here, you're really integrating that program more with your business and really building that health and safety management system where everything works together in your business for health and safety, where health and safety really is ingrained in your business. And then at the advanced level, you're optimizing that so that you're addressing any non-conformities, any gaps you might have, to make sure that you are continually managing health and safety, continually addressing hazards, continually improving that system. So that's how the program is structured, with these building blocks towards accreditation. And again, you start where it makes sense to your business. Next slide, please. Okay, so I won't go through every single topic, but I will say this: when you join the program, you get access to our long program guidelines document, which gives you a really good overview of each of these topics. And also, Michelle and Sue are wealths of experts on these topics, and will walk you through them as well. We really lay out for you what each topic includes and what would be expected of you to complete the topic. Again, topics are at the foundation, intermediate, and advanced level. There's 36 of them. I've put a star beside the ones here that are probably best to help you with COVID right now. So if you're thinking, I just need to address this pandemic first, that's fine. We've got some topics here like risk assessment, control of hazards, emergency prevention and preparedness, emergency response that may be specific to help you address that right now. These topics are also going to help you prepare for the future. So for instance, if you're doing emergency prevention and preparedness, you're not just continuing to prepare for the impacts of COVID, you're preparing for any other emergencies that may impact your business so that you can be ready for those things. Because some of us, let's be honest, we weren't ready for COVID. There's also a heart beside corporate social responsibility. This is a topic that can actually help you with diversity and inclusion. So if you're looking to expand your sphere of influence into your community or work on specific diversity and inclusion initiatives within your business, or again, within the community that you operate, this program or that topic specifically can give you credit for doing those things. So this is an overview of the topics. Again, there are some more detailed explanations in the program guidelines. There are some topics we recommend doing together because they do correlate quite nicely and have a number of linkages, and it's just more efficient to do them at the same time. Those are the recommended bundle topics that you'll see in kind of the bottom middle of this slide. So for instance, if you're going to work on competency, you probably want to do health and safety training at the same time. If you're working on emergency prevention and preparedness, you probably want to do their emergency response topic at the same time. So again, these are the 36. So next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk about the employer journey, like what your journey is going to look like through this program. Again, 30,000-foot level. Michelle and Sue are going to give you much more detail on what this is actually going to look like as you work with them on this program. So again, high level, there's 4 steps I'm going to walk you through: join, develop, demonstrate, and achieve. Next slide, please. Okay, so join. So the first step to join is to really explore what we call the guide to joining the Health and Safety Excellence Program, which we can share with you after this presentation. It just kind of summarizes all of this information for you in one little nice package. So you can use that, you can share it with other people within your organization if you want to kind of walk them through the program and what it will mean for your organization. You want to register with an approved WSIB provider. And as mentioned, we've got Sue and Michelle here today as our approved providers to support you. Then you want to join the program. So you register with your provider, you join the program. In the program portal, so our program has a digital portal where you are going to be able to access the program from anywhere at any time. And in the portal, there's going to be about a 20-minute health and safety assessment that you're going to take. Now, this health and safety assessment is going to give you an indication of where you want to enter the program. So I mentioned there's 3 levels with 36 topics. So the assessment will tell you whether you want to enter in level 1, foundation, intermediate, advanced, what topics you might want to work on. And so it will help you pick your topics for the year. You can pick between 1 and 5 topics to work on for the year. So it's 36 topics. So if you do the math on that and you're just starting out in health and safety, this is a program that you may be working on for several years. If you're maybe more advanced and joining at the advanced level, it might be a program you work on for 2 or 3 years, then you move on to accreditation. So giving you that flexibility of 1 to 5 topics is helpful because, in times like COVID or just times of, your business being quite busy, you may not be able to do 5 topics, but you maybe can take on 1 or 2 to get the ball rolling, to get the rebates, to start making those improvements, and then you can add more topics in the following year. Next slide, please. So now that you've joined the program, you're going to work with your provider. Your provider will give you some guidance and some tools, and you're going to implement those topics that you've selected. And we ask that you implement those topics according to sort of a plan, do, check, act cycle or another implementation model that makes sense, that really makes sure those topics are living and breathing in your organization. Next slide. So you've implemented your topics. Let's say you picked your topics and then you spent 6 months, 9 months implementing them. You're going to want to submit evidence to us of that implementation. So that evidence is going to tell us that you have completed these topics, and we will have our validators look at that evidence to confirm that you've completed those topics. Now, if that evidence is lacking, we will provide some feedback to you. and you will have 60 days to address that gap and provide additional evidence to support implementation of those topics. We're not looking for detailed documentation at each step of implementation, but we do want to see that these topics are fully implemented. Again, living and breathing. So are your employees involved in these topics? Let's say you've implemented a new hazard ID procedure. Are your employees using it? If they're not using it, it may not really be implemented. It may just be sitting in a binder somewhere or a policy on a wall. But we want to see that these health and safety topics are really making your workplace safer. So that's where we want to see some of that evidence. Now, one thing we've heard over the past year in our first year of this program is that employers want lots of scenarios and examples on what that looks like. So one thing we're trying to do over the next little bit is look at those employers that have been successful in this program and some of the examples of how they've implemented different topics across different sectors and sizes of business, and create some materials that we can share with you on that. So that's something that we're going to be working on, is providing some really good examples of what these topic implementations look like to support you so that you can be successful in learning from those examples and implementing these topics yourself in your business. Next slide, please. Okay, so you've implemented your topics, you've had your validation, and you've passed, assuming you've passed your validation. Maybe you had 60 days where you had to provide some additional evidence, but you passed. Now you get to earn a rebate for every topic you completed. You also get digital badges. Now, what I will say is that if you can't complete a topic, you're not going to be penalized for that. You can defer that topic to the following year. Okay, so, maybe you picked 5 topics and halfway through the year realize that it's a lot to handle. Maybe you don't even have a health and safety person, so you're kind of getting your HR person or your operational staff to work on this. And there's capacity challenges. Maybe you can only do 3 topics. That's okay. You can actually defer those 2 topics that you weren't able to do to the following year. So I'm going to talk a bit about the recognition that you can receive now. I'll talk specifically about the rebate as well as the badges that we offer. So the next slide, please. Okay, so rebate. So you can get a rebate in the program. It is a generous rebate, and I'll tell you how it's calculated. So this is where you're going to need that Compass tool, because you will need to know your premiums from the prior year. You will need to know your predictability, okay? So prior year premiums, let's assume we've got 2 examples here. One where the business is paying $7,000 in premiums, one where the business is paying $200,000 in premiums. So that's the prior year premium dollar that we need for this calculation. You also need your predictability. Now, your predictability is essentially the percentage to which you are able to impact your premium rate based on your claims experience. This is something that typically larger employers have a higher predictability because they've got higher insurable earnings, higher number of allowed claims, and each individual claim does not have a significant impact on the overall rates, meaning they're less volatile because there's just more frequency of claims. So larger employers tend to have a higher predictability, so they have a higher degree of control over their premium rate, whereas the smaller employers are more stabilized by their class rate. So even with improvements or reductions in claims, may not see the same ability to impact that premium rate at an individual level. So we've offset that in this program by offering those employers with a higher predictability and more ability to impact their premium rate, a lower percentage of rebate, and a higher percentage of rebate to those employers with a lower predictability and less ability to impact their premium rate. So you're going to need to get your predictability. It's on Compass. It's much easier to find now than it was before, where they've just updated that. And let's say you are greater than 20% predictability. You're probably a larger employer. You probably have at least 100 employees, and you're going to be getting 1.4% per topic. If you're a lower predictability, 20% or less, you're going to get 2% per topic. So then you take your premiums from last year, you take your predictability percentage, 1.4 or 2%, and you multiply that by the number of topics you've done. So in these examples, we've got an employer paying $200,000 in premiums the prior year. They get 1.4% times 5 topics. That's a $14,000 rebate. The employer paying $7,000 gets a 2% because they're a smaller employer. they're going to multiply that by 5 topics. That would typically give them $700. But what I want to also mention is that there's a funding minimum that we've offered. So $1,000 minimum per topic completed, up to 75% of your premiums, okay? So for this employer, they're not going to get the $700, they're going to get the $5,000 because they're going to get $1,000 for each of those topics completed. And that's where this program is specifically supportive of the smaller business. There's also a maximum of $50,000 per topic. So the most you can get in any given year is $250,000 back from participating in this program. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I talk about the badges, I'm going to also talk about the culture survey. So this specifically speaks to your question about getting your employees involved. So this is an immediate way to get them involved, get them excited about the program, and get them to understand how they can make a difference. So the culture survey is a free tool that's offered to you through your membership in our program. The culture survey is a link you send out to your employees. We suggest you send it out to a good mix of employees, at least 25% of your workforce. And what the culture survey is going to do is it's going to give you a snapshot of how your employees truly feel about the health and safety of your business. It's easy and quick to complete. It will probably take them about 15 minutes at most, and it's anonymous. So you're not going to see the individual scores of the employees that you sent this link to. They're going to see their individual score, but you will see an aggregate score for your business. And it's also evidence-based. It's based on 13 different workplace culture variables. We actually, to create this survey, we worked with the Institute for Work and Health. They had created a survey called the Organizational Performance Metric that was launched years ago and had seen a lot of success. So we took that and we added a few questions to it to, modernize it to this program, and it got the blessing of IWH that these were kind of the 13 variables that companies should be looking at when they're thinking about health and safety culture. So what's very interesting is that when we look at the all of the results from that original organizational performance metric survey, there was a strong correlation between companies that had higher culture scores and lower lost time injuries. So there was a very clear correlation there. And interestingly, when we, with the first year of this program, in fielding the survey, we had 500 of our businesses that are members use this survey amongst about 5,000 employees total, so 5,000 respondents. And when we looked at all their results, we looked at the results of those 500 businesses, we saw a very clear correlation as well between those businesses that had no lost time injuries or very low lost time injuries and higher culture scores, which showed us that this is definitely a leading indicator. Like health and safety culture is the best leading indicator you're going to get, other than things like near misses and stuff like that, and seeing those numbers go down to really tell you that you're making improvements in your health and safety of your business, because you don't want to wait to see lower injuries, because by then it could be too late and you might not see lower injuries. You might see that the efforts aren't working and your injuries are staying the same. So this tells you that something is happening in your business. Specifically, there was 3 areas of the results that we saw a very strong correlation. So one was trust. So when there's trust amongst employees and senior leadership that health and safety is a priority in the business. Employee involvement was another one. So when employees feel very involved in health and safety, like they're getting regular updates on health and safety, they have the ability to inform health and safety, they know what their role is in health and safety. And the third one was empowerment, specifically the health and safety personnel in the business. So when that health and safety specialist or manager feels they have the power to make changes in the workplace as needed. So it could be the Joint Health and Safety Committee or the Health and Safety Representative. When they feel they have the power to make those health and safety improvements in their business, the scores go way up and the injuries come way down. So this is a great tool. I highly encourage you to use it. When you join the program, it's a baseline for you to see where you're starting. The score it's a 4-point score, kind of like a GPA. Anything above 3 is pretty good. Between 2 and 3, there's definitely some room for improvement. Anything below 2 is, you got to really watch that. That means there's some serious issues that you want to address, and the program can certainly help you improve those issues. So next slide, please. Okay, so recognition. Mentioned there's badges for you. You can get badges at 2 points in the program. When you join the program, you're going to get a member badge. And this member badge is actually going to be featured on our Safety Check website. So the good thing about that is that, let's say you've come from, having a number of injuries that are going to appear on Safety Check, you're also going to show your commitment to health and safety with this badge. So this will show all the folks that might be looking you up, that whether it's a job seeker or customer, that you're invested in health and safety. Health and safety is important to you. It's also a badge we're going to give you, so you can put it on your website, you can print it out on business cards or put it on digital marketing material to show your customers and all the people that you work with, buyers, that you are investing in health and safety there. So it's a marketing tool for you, it's a recognition for you, and it's very important to really let people know about that. You can also get badges as you achieve levels in the program. So if you complete all the topics in Foundations, there's 10 topics in Foundation, you're going to get a badge for that. Intermediate, you can get a badge, and you can get a badge for completing the advanced topics as well too. Next slide. Okay, so achievement report. This is another feature of the digital portal that we actually just added about a month ago. So if you're joining the program after today, you get access to this great feature. The achievement report is where we're going to coalesce all of your results in the program. So you're going to see your culture survey results, you're going to see your validation on each topic you completed, any rebates you've received. This is a report that you can show to your senior leadership team, you can show to your employees, get everyone sort of up to date and invested in how you're doing in your health and safety program. Next slide. Okay, let's talk about a few employer testimonials. Now, as a caveat to this, we don't have a large number of employers in the program in the residential construction sector yet. We have a few. So hopefully in the future, we will have some of you that could be testimonials for us here. But I will share a few early testimonials that we've got. And this is based on the over 2,100 employers that are currently enrolled in the program. Almost 600 of those are from the construction sector. So again, growing number from the residential construction sector, and hopefully we'll see some more testimonials coming out of that subsector very soon. So we'll go to the next slide, and I'll talk to you first about City of Markham. So City of Markham, they are still in the program. So they haven't completed all their topics yet, but why they joined the program was they wanted some help training staff, providing a feeling of safety in the field, developing COVID-related protocols for different roles and functions. So for instance, maybe, health and safety communication, which we saw as really critical during COVID, with guidance and information changing on a daily basis. You got to have a strong health and safety communication process in place. So working on things like that to make sure they were well equipped for COVID. They were able to, they wanted to address both the desire to improve health and safety, but also build a sustainable response to the pandemic and future emergencies. And they needed the support from a provider such as Hamilton Health and Construction, flexibility. They like the flexibility in the program, that you can start the program any time of the year you want. You can work on up to 5 topics, and you can choose the topics that make the most sense for your business, as long as the topics you're choosing represent new health and safety initiatives. So that's City of Markham and why they joined. And on the next slide, I'll talk about an employer that has actually completed their first year of the program. Now, this is an employer on the ICI side, Ellis Dawn. So they've seen some really great results from completing the program. In their first year, they were able to strengthen their business processes across the organization to address COVID. They improved communication across all levels of employees and subcontractors. Again, a lot of businesses through COVID realized, hey, I need to improve my health and safety communication channels because information is being updated daily. They closed the gaps that were identified during their internal core audit and were able to prepare for Core 220, which is one of the accredited standards according to the ministry. So they saw some really positive results. They also earned a pretty good rebate. So success for Ellis Dawn. And then the next slide is our small business winner. So this is a small business winner. It is Brick & Co. They are a restoration business in the construction sector. And they are very inspiring. They won our gold prize. They got $5,000 for winning. And things that they did that really set them above other small businesses was that they ensured each team member felt very supported and felt very safe at work. The leadership team issued a comprehensive information package identifying COVID-19 hazards and control measures for everyone in the business. They implemented new policies, including remote work where possible, and they gave back to the community. They actually donated a bunch of PPE to St. Mary's General Hospital. So very inspiring small business. A quote from Brick & Co. was, "Health and safety goes beyond preventing workplace incidents and injuries. It's about promoting the wellness and well-being of employees." So that was very inspiring and great success in the program. Addressing current challenges. So here's a few key updates from the WSIB that are going to help you address some of the current realities we're facing. So as we all know, the government has issued, oh no, next slide is good. You're very intuitive there. So as you know, the government has issued a response framework, which we're all very familiar with. I live in Toronto, so I'm currently in lockdown, hoping to move my way into the gray zone soon. There's 5 zones of public measures, public health measures, and these can, be adjusted as needed. All businesses in the lockdown zones and businesses in certain sectors that are in yellow, orange, or red zones under the COVID-19 response framework are required to have a safety plan. So construction, you've got to have that safety plan, and we can help you do that. I'll talk a bit more about that on the next slide. So we'll go to the next slide. And so there's a number of resources on the Government of Ontario's website, which I'm sure you've all had a look at. If not, please take a look, very helpful. And these resources are going to help you develop your safety plan. But specifically, some topics in our program that I mentioned earlier can help you with that safety plan. We've got a risk assessment topic, so that's where you're, assessing all the different risks, high, medium, low, of getting the virus. You've got emergency prevention and preparedness, emergency response, workplace health promotion. I'll talk about that in a couple of slides. And control of hazards. So the control of hazards topic specifically can help you put those controls in place needed for the safety plan, things like screening, physical distancing, good ventilation, disinfecting services, and PPE. So this is where we can specifically help you with the program in addressing COVID-19. Next slide. Okay, mental health. So I mentioned there's a workplace health promotion topic. I think one thing we've all seen through the pandemic is that resilient employees, those that had the right support in place, fared better. And so this is about investing in the wellness of our employees, putting in place those supportive tools, whether it's a peer mentoring program, wellness programs, an employee family access or employee family assistance program, some of them are called employee assistance program. Ours is called employee family assistance programs, things like that, to make sure, again, that you're investing in the mental health and well-being of your employees, but also making sure that they are resilient and better able to cope in times of crisis, in times of change like a COVID pandemic. So this is a topic we recommend. You can still work on now to address COVID, but you can also have it in place to make sure your employees are prepared for the next thing that may come our way as well. Next slide. So we've also partnered with the Office of the Employer Advisor, and that should actually be spelled ADVISER, not OR. So apology for the typo there. So we've partnered with the Office of the Employer Advisor to develop some return to work modules. So these are modules that help you develop a program so that when you do have employees that are injured, you can quickly and successfully and safely bring them back to work. We've partnered on these modules. These modules align with 3 topics in our program. So if you are looking to work on these return to work topics in the program, these modules will support you. Again, they're free modules. They've got 2 sets of modules, one for construction employees, construction businesses, I should say, and the other set for non-construction businesses. So naturally, you're going to want the construction ones. They are being offered throughout the months of March and April. They're listed on their website. You can sign up for those modules, again, free of charge, and those modules will specifically help you with these topics. Next slide. Okay, another update for you is our online services continue to be enhanced. Now, this goes well beyond the Health and Safety Excellence Program. These are online services that are available to both businesses, employers, as well as employees. So we've got, as I mentioned, access to that Compass tool that you want to look at to get your injury trends and understand your premium rate and all of that. But we've also got some services for your workers. So workers can upload claim documents. Employers can also upload claim documents. This can all be done online now. There's also a direct deposit option now available. There's the ability to sign up and view claim status, latest payments, benefits, send messages. We operate by email now. What a what a modern intervention for us. But for a big organization like the WSIB, moving to email was a really big deal. So now you can contact us by email, and you can do all sorts of things online. So I highly recommend that you check out our new online services to see if there might be something that you're doing that you could be doing a little bit easier through the online services. And there's a web link on this slide that you can access those through. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the summary and next step section. So I'm just going to quickly recap everything I've shared. Again, Michelle and Sue are going to dive so much deeper for you. I just wanted to give you the high level overview, talk a little bit about what's new, but to give you a summary of what I covered, you know, the Health and Safety Excellence Program is here to help you. It's here to help you through COVID. It's here to help you in creating that long-term sustainable health and safety program that's going to help you get a return on investment for your health and safety. It's also going to help you avoid a number of things that you don't want to have happen that could impact your business. You're going to receive support from an approved WSIB provider. You're going to get access to a free culture survey tool that will help you get your employees more involved in health and safety. You're going to be able to participate in the program anywhere at any time through our user-friendly digital portal, and the program has flexible options for you. So you can take advantage of those and make this program work specifically for your business. Again, it's a risk-based program. It's aligned with the Ministry of Labor Training and Skills Development Accreditation Program. It's building blocks of a solid health and safety management system. Next slide. So as a next step, highly recommend you actually contact Sue and Michelle. So you might not need this as much, but just generally speaking, if you did want someone to give you more information on the program or help you calculate your rebates or anything like that, we do have an email address that you can use. There's also our website, which has some more information. I am going to send the guide to joining to Andrew afterwards and Amina to share with you. And then you can register in the program, get your member badge, and get started on these health and safety improvements. And lastly, I have a slide up that's going to give you an opportunity to share any questions you may have with me or any comments you might have on the program.
Thanks, Diana. That was super informative. We do have a couple questions and that have been emailed to me. The first one is, what is the difference between the old safety groups and this program?
That's a great question. So in 2019, we launched this program at the end of the year in November. And this program, the Health and Safety Excellence Program, is essentially an evolution from our previous health and safety programs. One of those was Safety Groups. We also had a small business program and a work well program. So when we looked at our previous programs, we realized they were great programs, but there wasn't this integrated roadmap for businesses. There wasn't a seamless path to excellence. Each program was kind of its own program that didn't kind of give you that pathway. So we wanted to create an integrated roadmap to excellence with the Ministry of Labor. But we also wanted to address some of the feedback we had received on the Safety Group program while keeping the elements of that program that worked well. So things that worked well in that program is the opportunity to network with other employers, the opportunity to get the support of an approved provider, the rebates that you could receive, things like that. But the things that we heard maybe didn't work so well about Safety Groups was that there wasn't as much flexibility. Like you had to do 5 topics, you couldn't do 3, 4, whatever, depending on your capacity. The program was a fixed program with a start date and an end date, so there wasn't that flexibility to join whenever you wanted. The learning options weren't as flexible. You had to come typically to some in-person meetings. There wasn't even as many options for virtual, which would have been a bit of a problem in COVID. The program was also all paper-based, so thankfully we launched launched 3 months before COVID with a digital program that you can access anywhere, because that would have been a real challenge for us. So we took what worked well in safety groups, but we addressed the things that maybe didn't work so well and evolved that to this new program. So safety groups is no longer available. It's closed. The last cohort went through last year and got their rebates, or sorry, not last year, the year before, got their rebates last year. Now what we're offering is this Health and Safety Excellence Program. Again, it's a roadmap from awareness to excellence. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks, Diana. There's another question. So CORE doesn't seem to work, or it's not very popular in residential construction. So one of the questions was, do I have to get accredited with CORE, or are there other options?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And that's why I didn't focus too heavily on CORE, because I know it's not really the go-to here. No, you can pick whatever you want. So the CPO, the Chief Prevention Officer, has approved certain standards that align with accreditation. He just approved 17,001, ISO 17,001, 45,001 is approved, the CSA standard's been approved, I believe the OHAS has approved, and CORE has been approved. So you don't have to choose CORE. If you truly want to go to accreditation, first of all, the excellence program building blocks work for all of those standards. So whatever standard you're choosing, the excellence program is going to get you there. When you get to that point where you're preparing for your third-party audit and you're thinking about the standard you want to choose the one that's best for your business. Again, maybe CORE for some of you, but for a lot of you, it may be the ISO standard. So you have the choice. If you go on the ministry's website, you will see the list of those approved standards that you can choose. You can also come up with a proprietary standard. Now, I know that's more applicable to a larger business, but if that's you, you can submit a proprietary standard as well. Once you get the SOCI, I should mention this, we also give you additional rebates. So let's say you're kind of at the end of the excellence program, or maybe you think you've already exceeded the excellence program and you're going straight to SOCI. And SOCI is supporting Ontario Safe Employers. That's my short form. You're going to get rebates from us. So if you're successful in SOCI, we have a rebate formula that's on our website that can give you up to $600,000 over 3 years for being successful in the accreditation program. So even if you go that route, you will still get rebates from us.
Thanks, Diana. There doesn't seem to be any other questions, so I will kick it over to Ahid to introduce our next speakers.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Ahid. So next we have Sue Ramsey. Sue is the General Manager of the Hamilton Halton Construction Association, a non-for-profit organization that serves the needs of ICI and heavy civil construction employers in the Hamilton and Halton regions. Before joining the HHCA, Sue was part of a small team at the Council of Ontario Construction Associations. It's a provincial federation of construction associations that focused on advocating on behalf of the industry. Sue will be providing more information about the programs available under the Health and Safety Excellence Plan, how to join a group, and the benefits of joining one. Sue, welcome and thank you for being here, and I'll just give the virtual mic to you.
Thanks very much. So what I'm going to talk about just briefly before handing it over to Michelle is some information about the Regional Construction Group and our offering. So we're an approved provider of the Excellence Program, and we're a former Safety Group sponsor. So our program is focused solidly on construction and related sectors, and we've been successfully supporting construction companies in their efforts to improve their health and safety performance over the last 20+ years. So historically, participation in our program was only available to Hamilton, Halton, and Toronto Construction Association members, hence the name Regional Construction, the Regional Construction Group. So I'm so pleased that RESCON has now joined our partnership, making access to the Health and Safety Excellence Program easy and affordable for you RESCON members. So each approved provider, and I just realized that I'm not sure if, are we keeping up on the slides?
No, I got lost. I was hoping you were going to come back for me. So.
Okay. So if you flip forward, look, there's you, RESCON, welcome. Forward, please. Here we go. So Each approved provider is responsible for developing and delivering their own program supports to help members achieve a successful result through the program. So highlights of our offering are included in this PowerPoint deck, which will be circulated after we're done. But the most important thing that you need to know about the Regional Construction Group program is that you're not alone. So we're going to assist you through every step of the way, from registering the portal, selecting your topics, samples and templates, preparing your information for validation. Help is always available. One of the hallmarks of our particular program is that we have regularly scheduled optional one-on-one sessions. And this is where you're going to meet with Michelle to talk specifically about your program and offer any questions that you might have. So, pardon me. The response to that particular aspect of our program has been really, really positive. People want to talk to somebody and ask questions and have them answered immediately before they do any more work on their program. So that has been particularly helpful. So I'm going to jump in a little bit and kind of introduce Michelle before she speaks in a minute. But Michelle has been with our program for a number of years. She's a health and safety consultant, but she's also a paralegal, which offers our members some really great insight in terms of dealing with the WSIB and making sure that they're always on side. So Michelle delivers the technical aspect of our program, while you're going to be dealing with me on more of an administration side. So forward, please. So if you decide to embark on your health and safety journey with us at the Regional Construction Group, Michelle and I are the people that you're going to be speaking with. Our contact information is included on, I believe, the next slide. And we'd be more than happy to talk to you one-on-one, answer any questions you might have. This slide is actually, this information has been provided and will be circulated after the session is over. So you'll be getting a copy of the member guidelines that Diana mentioned, a full schedule of our support opportunities for the year, and also an application form. So to register, you fill it out, you email it to me, and we'll walk you through all the steps in the process. We're really grateful to RESCON for partnering with us on this project. We're really looking forward to working with you. And now I'm going to hand it over to Michelle.
Thank you very much. And thank you to RESCON for the opportunity. We really, and both Stu and I are really looking forward to working with the membership to make it healthier and safer for everyone. If you can advance the slide, please. So as Diana mentioned earlier, the Excellence Program just started. It started in November of 2019, but really 2020 was the kickoff. Since then, we've had many of our firms give us some positive feedback in regards to their participation and their experience in the program. Many of the firms in our group are appreciative of the program helping them stay on topic. Many of the firms in our group, they don't have a dedicated health and safety person or team. So this program just gives them a checkpoint and some support along the way. Many of our firms as well, health and safety is just a small aspect of an individual person's role or part of their portfolio. So they appreciate having us support them and just have regular check-ins on a monthly basis to see where they're at, and then we give them the next steps after that. The next bit of feedback that we've received as well is that the firms appreciate having the opportunity to put the Excellence Program and information in their bidding documents when they're bidding on jobs, and they found that that's helped them look more favorable when bidding on jobs, because it looks like they can show and demonstrate that health and safety is an important aspect for their business. And then many of the firms have said to us that it's just a win-win because they're doing the health and safety that they have to do for legal, but also just for the right thing to do for their organization to make sure it is healthier and safe for their workers, and then get money back as well. So they just call it that win-win. So as Diana mentioned, there are 36 topics that an organization can pick, and they're based on these level 1, 2, and 3. So an organization can jump in wherever they are at in their own health and safety program and systems that they have. So we have many construction employers that are that don't have a policy statement and they're just starting out fresh, and that's okay. We meet every organization where they're specifically at and help them to grow and develop their programs. We also have many firms in our group that have health and safety teams that have sophisticated programs in place and may have already achieved core, and we still support them and provide them this great program. It still provides them flexibility and opportunities for rebates. But I just wanted to highlight this slide in the sense that there are foundation, the intermediate, and advanced, but organizations aren't tied to those levels. They do have an opportunity to pick topics in each one of the levels that make sense for their business based on where they are at in their own health and safety program and system. Next slide. So the level 1 has those basic foundational programs that are leadership and commitment, health and safety responsibilities, communication, and so on. So this is where you would see health and safety policy statement, violent harassment, state policy, roles and responsibilities, all of those types of programs that your organization can pick as a topic to work towards to get credit. Next slide. The level 2 topics are a little bit more again, building and developing your own systems. The WSIB does recommend working on some programs at the same time, and that's something that we would help you to pick and select the topics that make sense for your organization. And that's our role, is to meet with you and review where you are at so we can help you pick the topics that are best suited for your organization and your goals and objectives. The next one. So the level 3 topics are more of that management system where you would get into auditing, internal and external, corporate social responsibility, those sort of things. And you'll see that if there are any organizations in this group that have achieved core, you'll see that there are still some topics in here that would be available for you to pick as well, because they are not in core. So there's still opportunity for organizations that do have mature systems in place and maybe have achieved core or another accreditation. There still is an opportunity for you to participate in the excellence program and receive rebates. Next slide, please. And if you can just advance it again, because Diana talked about that. So when you join the regional construction group, we will send you a registration link that will provide you with access into the dashboard that Diana spoke about. That next step, once you get in and create your user, it will talk about completing this health and safety assessment. We will help you with that assessment if you like. We are available to do that and walk you through the assessment. And at the end of the assessment, the system will naturally provide 5 topics based on the answers to your assessment. And the system will automatically provide those 5 as recommendations based on your answers. However, we can work together with you and have a conversation with you based on what the 5 topics that the dashboard is providing versus what your own company's goals and objectives are for the year. So we can work with you together to look at those things and make sure that we're picking the best topics for your organization. The next one is to develop. So we would work with you based on what you need to develop the topics that you've picked. So based on once you complete the assessment, you pick the topics, and then now you hit the pavement running with development and implementation of the topics that you've picked. We will meet with you if you wish on one-on-ones to go through next steps, the how-to. We will provide you with templates and guidance We will provide you what the expectations are of the excellence program, of what a validator would be looking for in your program. We can review the legislative requirements as well as best practice to help you develop the best policy and procedure for your organization specific to that topic or topics that you've chosen for the year. So basically, as a benefit of being with our group is you're not alone, as Sue had mentioned. We will be there through each step of the way, because we do recognize that many of the RESCON members may not have a dedicated health and safety person within their organization and may need that support and check-in and just assistance with those next steps, or even just a second set of eyes to look at a policy and procedure. And those are the services that we would offer every organization as part of our group. So we provide various different levels of support and resources. So we will help you one-on-one by providing templates and information and tools. We also have regular group meetings, as we've provided that schedule earlier. With the group meetings, we have opportunities for networking as well for the members that are in our group. And the demonstration aspect, so once you develop and implement the topics that your organization has selected, you would then demonstrate via evidence to the WSIB for validation. Our group, we help you pull that information together and package it to present it to the WSIB for validation. And we would support you by reviewing the policies, the procedures, and all of the evidence that you're going to use, and help you package it together so that the WSIB validator can see all of the requirements and see that it is living and breathing in your organization. The next step. So all of the topics that your organization would be working on would be subject to a desk validation by a WSIB validator. So each topic they would go through, and the validator would be looking to make sure that the topic is living and breathing in the organization. They look to make sure that that topic that you've worked on is making the workplace safer and healthier. It is not an audit. It is just it is a validation to ensure, again, that it has been implemented and living and breathing in your organization. And the WSIB does provide a lot of flexibility on the evidence that you can provide. So somebody mentioned safety groups previously. The safety groups program was very, very documentation heavy. This new program allows a lot of flexibility to present the evidence, which can include video. So if you have, if you're doing an inspection and you have a topic, you could take a quick video of demonstrating, I don't know, maybe it's a personal protective equipment topic that your organization has selected. You would be able to take a quick video of somebody wearing the PPE and doing performing that work activity, and that would be satisfactory evidence to show that it's been implemented, because there you can demonstrate that they are following that procedure. And then just a small portion has a on-site validation as well. And then the last aspect of that is achievement. So achievement would be receiving the rebate. So as Diana mentioned, you could get 1.4 to 2% back based on your predictability. So once the WSIB has reviewed your topics that you've developed for your organization, if they've agreed that it is living and breathing and there's enough evidence there, they would provide that rebate for the topics that were successfully completed. Okay, and the next slide talks about the percentages of rebates and the opportunities for rebates. So Diana did talk about that, but I just wanted to quickly talk about how you certainly get these rebates for participating, which is great, but it also helps your organization because in 2020, the WSIB created the new rate framework where organizations now have one premium rate that they're paying all year based on their risk and their experience. So by participating in this program, you would be receiving rebates here, and naturally you would be improving the health and safety organization, which could in turn reduce your injury claims and cost of injuries, which would reduce your premium rate as well. So by participating, you'd be getting this rebate, but there's also that opportunity of reduction of your own premium rate based on less injuries and less claim costs. And also the third way too is the more construction organizations that we can get in to this program, and this is why we're so excited to have RESCON join, is the more construction firms we have in, the safer and involved in the program, the safer it's going to be, and we're going to reduce injury and claim costs, which could also reduce our class rate as well. So we could have those three opportunities just to keep driving down our costs. Next slide. And next slide again, Diana talked about that. Keep going. These slides just explain a little bit more on the calculation of the rebate, but Diana did go through that in detail, so I won't spend too much time on that. And then the measuring the change in culture as well. I think it's a couple more slides there, Andrew. There is an opportunity in the dashboard, as Diana mentioned, to review or to measure the culture of the organization and go through that survey. Many of our members in our group have really appreciated the opportunity to use that, and they're using that as a measurement tool to measure their health and safety culture and then set up goals and objectives based on the feedback that they've received from that culture survey. And the next slide. So the benefits of being with the regional construction group and the excellence program, obviously there are financial incentives available to your organization. This overall program, we do provide assistance to help you to meet the legislative requirements and best practices, help you improve the organizational health and safety as a whole. We will provide tools and resources to assist. And we really meet all of our firms where they're at. So some employers ask us, just say, we don't have a dedicated person, so we need you to check in with us on a monthly basis to measure where we're at. Some of them say, okay, well, let's just set up quarterly touch points, and this is our plan for the year. And we just really try to meet each of our firms where they're at and give them the information and tools to be successful in the program. And at that point, I'll just open it up to questions and answers about the regional construction group and the excellence program as a whole.
One of the things that I wanted to mention that I don't think we brought up, Diana talked a lot about selecting five topics and the option of deferring them at the end of the year if you didn't get to that. One of the things that we do recommend for companies is that they do select 5 topics, even if they think that 5 is a stretch, because the way that the program works is that it runs on a 12-month cycle. So unlike safety groups, it doesn't run on the calendar year. It starts from whenever you join, but you can only complete the number of topics that you put on your action plan within the 12 months. So if you only picked 3 and you burned through them in 6 months and you thought, oh, I'll just add a couple more, that option isn't available. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're selecting your topics.
And just as questions are coming in, RESCON has signed kind of a joint agreement. And what we did is through the Health and Safety Committee, so thank you, Health and Safety Committee at RESCON, we kind of looked around to see who is out there and who is providing services. And by far, this is kind of the best one that I think will meet members' needs. And that view was shared kind of by RESCON staff as well as the RESCON Health and Safety Committee. And so that's why they're here today. So if people are wondering how we got here, this is it. And I mean, I don't know if you guys want to fill them in on that partnership and kind of what the benefits are to it. But we are going to be writing about this in our newsletter and promoting both Health and Safety Excellence Plan, as well as Sue and Michelle and the good work they do. So.
Well, I've actually already got a couple of emails from people asking what the price is, and I realized that we neglected to do that. So normally, or previously, I guess, our program was only available to HHCA and TCA members. So we had a couple of RESCON companies join, but in order to access the program, they had to join another association as well. So under this agreement, RESCON companies won't have to join the HHCA or the TCA. This is just a benefit of being a RESCON member, and RESCON has negotiated this on your behalf. So you can access our program for $795 plus HST per year. That's the same as what my members pay. It's the same as what TCA members pay, and it's a flat rate. Some organizations are charging a little extra for, you know, the validation review and all those sorts of things. It is one fee for the 12 months, starting when you sign up. And we like to think that it's a pretty good value.
Thanks, Sue. There's another question, lots of questions or concerns about accreditation and core, and I guess one of them was, how is this linked to accreditation?
The idea with the excellence program is to give employers an opportunity to work through the excellence program, build all those topics through level 1, 2, and 3, and then grow into the accreditation after that. And then on the core side as well, if an organization is working towards core and they're in excellence, we when they join, we will assist them in selecting topics that will help them go in that direction with core, so that it's one system, one program working in that direction.
Super, and I've just been told that I should let, I know there's some ORCA members on the call, but all of these answers and questions do apply to, and this program can and do apply to ORCA members in the subtrades, and so just flagging that out there. I don't think there were any other questions unless you received any, Andrew.
You know, I think the other ones I received were answered, and it was related to cost. So yeah, ORCA would be covered through RESCON. And then I think there's lots of time for questions, but I think because I guess Diane answered a lot of questions in her presentation, we were able to kind of move through it a bit quicker. So if there's no kind of final thoughts from Michelle or Sue, and there's no questions, we'll turn it over to Amina for kind of some closing remarks, but not to rush anybody.
I think everybody's usually happy to end a little early.
Yeah, no complaints here. So thanks everyone for attending today's webinar. Thanks to Diana from the WSIB and Sue and Michelle for this really informative session. So in terms of next steps, like all of our webinars, we will be posting the recording to this. And I think both Sue and Michelle and Diana have given us permission to kind of send more information about your presentation and some of the details that were included in your slides. Like Andrew said at the beginning, for every webinar or event that we do, whether it's virtual or in person, we do make a donation to a charity. And so the charity that we're donating to for this event is Threads of Life, which is a volunteer-based charity dedicated to supporting families after a workplace injury or fatality or occupational disease. So that's the charity that we'll be donating to, and we'll include the link to that charity in our follow-up email, just so you can learn more about what they do. So if there's no other comments or outstanding last questions, I'll let everyone give you guys back half an hour. So thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone, and happy Pancake Tuesday. Take care everyone.